Hello, 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 this is SGM4306 back with another episode of TeardownTube. And as you can see here, I got my hands on a PSP Go, and as you can see it works in fact, but I basically got it for around $30 off of eBay because the seller didn't have a charging cord and they just assumed that it was a dead unit just because they flipped the power switch and nothing happened. You can read about the steps that I went through in order to fix it up. I barely consider it fixing it. I basically just pulled the battery, externally charged it, and reinserted the battery, made sure the connection was solid, and rebooted while pressing the left on the D-pad in order to force it to reboot. And so other than that, not much, but I wanted to do a little teardown for you guys. So let's just put this on hold. Very sleek form factor. You have your D-pad, your analog stick, start, select, as well as your face buttons, the triangle, square, X, and O. Other than that, you got your home button right here. On the top, you have your brightness, sound, as well as the volume, and your left and right triggers. In the back, not much really going on other than these little rubber pads there. This thing is really a fingerprint magnet. It's pretty bad. But you have your hold switch on the side here with the power slider, and wireless and, annoyingly, proprietary memory stick M2 instead of just going with micro SD, or at the very least, if they could fit it, a memory stick Pro Duo. Pro Duo. And you have headphone jack standard, and once again another proprietary charging and USB data port. Well, that's pretty much it. So let's tear this sucker apart. You have 4 screws, one in each corner. It's a pretty standard issue by now. These are pretty small screws, so make sure you use an appropriate size bit not to strip them. And don't go yanking the cover off just yet. There are 2 more screws on the top, right here and here. Make sure you don't lose any of these screws. You're going to need every single one of them. Now that we got that, you can start by, let me readjust my camera. Start by prying around the edges just to get it to lift up a bit. Then you can actually pull off the top part. Pops right off there. There's several little clasps. That's about it. And you'll notice the flat flex cable with the tack switches right in there. And you're going to want to pull this guy off very carefully. There are some clips on the bottom here. And it just goes like that. Pull straight off. You'll notice the antenna right in here, as well as shielding and shielding contacts. Nothing all that interesting. Put that aside. And finally, to the heart of it. I've already removed this. There was a warranty sticker right in here with when you peel it off, it leaves the warranty void imprint on there so that they can tell if you've opened it. I really don't care, honestly. So okay, let's get to it. I'm just pulling off the very carefully. There are 2 ZIF connectors here, and you want to pull the shoulder button parts off there. There are 2 screws which hold the retaining clips for the shoulder buttons. Right, one in here, and the other right in there. Set those aside. Pull off the plastic retainers. And you can finally just pull off the shoulder buttons. Okay, now the battery. I want to lift off the battery slightly. Be very careful when prying the battery. The connector is very delicate, so I like to use a pry tool. Basically, you just want to get up right underneath the battery and very carefully lift up like that. This guy is a lithium-ion battery, 3.7 volts at 930 milliamp hours. Pretty standard, run-of-the-mill. Okay, now we've got some work cut out for us. There's a single screw right in here with a shielding tab that you can pull out right now. Set that aside. Followed by 2 screws right in here to remove the bottom bezel. Make sure I don't lose that guy. And the bottom bezel now should be able to, if you're careful, lift straight out. Careful not to bend. There are little clips on either side there. You don't want to bend anything. It won't go back together well. Okay, basically what you got here is lots and lots of shielded cans. I'm not going to lift these, obviously. I want to keep this in working condition. Basically, your charging and data port down there. This guy is your analog stick, and this guy is your headphone jack. So next, you'll notice that there are 2 screws holding both the headphone jack and the analog stick in. They're little black screws. Pull them out. I haven't really quite made up my mind whether I want to actually pull apart the screen assembly and the entire slider assembly, or just show you the entire motherboard, which will be much easier in fact. Okay, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Now, you have 2 connectors here. They're friction fit. They're not ZIF, so you have to be very careful when pulling them so you don't rip anything. And they're a pain to get back in, but what are you going to do? And this little one has a tab that you can use to pull. And so that's how that works. Okay, and now this little metal grounding tab that I said, you can actually very carefully, there's some adhesive holding it down, you can actually very carefully lift that up. Be careful, and now you can free this cable. As well as, by now there are no screws holding anything in, so you should just be able to lift the main board straight out with some percussive maintenance. There we go. Don't lift all the way out. There's still the connector for the display, and you do not want to tear that. Basically, get your pry tool in and very carefully attach the display cable like that. Now the entire motherboard comes out. You can see the tiny little joystick in here. I'm not going to be removing that. No use. Basically, this is the entire front. Just standard run-of-the-mill tack switches. Other than that, you have your power switch here, your M2 memory card slot right in there. a Foxconn, what appears to be a wireless module, your wireless switch, which is right in here, and as well as you can just make out, I can just make out, I don't know if you guys can, but some inductors and caps, so this leads me to believe, plus its proximity to the battery connector, this guy, this circuitry right in here must be the power supply circuitry. And you'll see some smaller chips, this guy right in here, most likely than not because of its proximity to here is a USB controller. You can see the MEMS microphone right in here, and this guy right in here is probably most likely than not some sort of a display driver. And other than that, you have what appears to be some possibly a wireless Alps. It's Alps branded module right in here, and I cannot see inside any of the other shielded cans. So that's pretty much it. Very simplistic. You'll notice the copper pads right here, which attach when you put the back onto the antenna. That white thing right in there. And other than that, not much else interesting to see. You have your LEDs, one right in here, one right in here, for the indicators that go to the light pipes on the outside. Other than that, very simplistic construction. Now, just kind of set that aside slightly. Your controls, just rubber membrane with the plastic bit stuck in there. Pretty bog standard. Not all that surprising. D-pad, same. And your start and select are actually right in there. I don't want to remove them. Let's see, do I want to remove the screen? Sure, why as hell not. Okay, to remove the screen assembly, there's 4 screws. One here, one here, one here, and one here. Begin by removing those. Carefully. These appear to be particularly small. I think I'm going to need a smaller bit. A smaller driver. Should have one somewhere. Here we go. Last thing you want is to strip them. Yep, that does the trick. And it just lifts right off. Be careful of the connector. And that's it. The entire front. Oh, nothing pops out. Ta-da! Really not much to it. Set that aside. Your screen mechanism is actually very similar to the cell phones that flip to. It's just 2 springs and then they're hinged there, so it just pops like that and that. So now, to remove the screen, just 4 screws, 1 in each corner. Sorry about that. Make sure I don't lose these screws. There's also some screws to remove this the sliding retaining clip. I'm not going to remove that. That's not necessary. Actually, I might not be able to open this. It looks like the screws are in kind of tight. Nope, never mind. Right bit for the job always gets it done. Just be careful, don't over tighten anything or anything like that. It's pretty nice. They put little felt pads on here to limit the friction so nothing grates against plastic, metal and plastic. Really nice construction here. Now, basically, just want to get in there with a fingernail or pry tool and just start getting the, there we go, and then it pops right out. Go around and get all the corners out, and don't lift straight out because you still have a ribbon connector connecting the LCD screen to here. So let's see, get your pry tool and get in there, and it's out. Basically, you have your LEDs for your various indicators on the front, your home switch, tact switch is right in here, and your contacts for the speaker, which go to the front, and this is just the connector which passes through to the main board there. And set this aside. Basically, you just have your display here, your rubber membrane for the PlayStation switch. This guy's kind of a little bit dirty. Let me just clean him off. And let's get this guy back in now. Yeah, Sony decided to put, I mean, a lot of companies do, tons and tons of these water sensors. There's one on the main board and one in here as well. And these little guys which flank the screen are the little speakers. Ta-da! Yeah, and this guy right here is the Wi-Fi indicator, and this guy's the Bluetooth. So I guess that's pretty much it. Let's get everything together now and reassembled. It's already at 17 minutes. Don't worry, we have plenty of time. Make sure your connector's in place well there. Get your display nice and lined up. Everything looks good. 4 screws, 1 in each corner. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Doesn't need to be tight, just has to be in there. And looks like we're good. Okay, I just love playing with this sliding mechanism. Okay, now let's carefully get the connector back in there, everything lined up, and very, very carefully screw back this guy in there. And make sure. Yeah, it looks good. Stupid D-pad. Okay. Okay. Now for the fun part. Let's get that under there anyway. Getting this stupid display connector back on. This was a pain when I took this apart the first time. Let's try to do it one-handed and on camera. Well, you know what? There. I'll put the D-pad in after. Okay, you want to juggle and use your use the force, if you can, to manipulate this guy back in there. Just coax him. Might help to slide it. Oh yeah, it does help to slide it open. Wow, I'm a genius. Okay, then you can get the connector in rather easily. I are a genius. Okay. You're gonna wanna finagle. That's the word I'm looking for. All the various connectors very gently back out, and don't forget the D-pad. That guy is important. Okay, and just make sure everything is kind of as it should be. Okay, not pinching any wires. Good. Now make sure when you insert this part that there's a little key in there that goes into the frame. Make sure it's seated properly and flush. And let's put the non-ZIF connector, these two connectors, back in first because they're the pain. Okay, one back in. Two back in. Fold over the joystick and grab the two black screws. I'm going to put the one next to the headphone jack that holds both of them in so that it doesn't teeter or totter. Let's grab the other one. This is actually fairly easy to open and modify and whatnot, so I was pleasantly surprised. Let's grab this guy, make sure it's in the right way and whatnot, and just kind of click the corners in. Followed by two screws, one in each corner. The single screw that holds this little guy in. And that should be it for the motherboard screws. That was the water sensor that I was talking about before, right in there. Let's see. Next, I guess the battery. Be gentle. Make sure it's in there. Make sure the battery is properly seated. And then we can start by putting the triggers back in place, followed by the retaining clips. Oopsie. Now, I had trouble getting these little guys back in. Make sure everything works sliding wise. Oh yeah, very important is to make sure that still boots, which is a good sign. But make sure the switches are in the right positions before you put the main board in. I got lucky, but it never hurts to double check that. Otherwise you can end up snapping off those switches there. And the ZIF connectors on the headphone, which is always really super mega annoying. Haha, Man, I guess second time's the charm. This is my second time opening this guy up. Finally got it. There we go. Finally, the back cover goes on. Snap the clips in the bottom into place carefully. Then you are going to want to snap the top port into place, followed by the 4 screws, one in each corner on the back. Followed by the last 2 remaining screws, and I don't have any excess screws. Sometimes, though rarely, I forget to put screws back in. But I was careful enough this time that I got them all. Do not drop these screws. You'll pretty much never see them again. And that's it. Now let's just see. Just a quick test. And she still boots up. What do you know? That's not the date, but whatever. It's enough for purposes of, display. And everything works. She's a beaut. There you go. That was a teardown of the PSP Go. I wrote up a long, 1+ pages of my experience with getting this system, supposedly broken, and debugging, trying to find out what was wrong, and repairing it ultimately, after 40 minutes of messing around with the thing. And I suggest you go read that. It's up on, I'll put a link right down here someplace. It's on my site, DIYtronics.blogspot.com. If you like my videos and you want me to keep them coming, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I always enjoy that sort of thing. So I'll see you guys next time, whenever I get my next new electronic item, or used rather. I always buy used at thrift stores and on eBay. So I'll see you then. Take it easy.